So you want to make that change so that that axle is horizontal at ride height. So if you have lower traction, you'll usually move the hub down on the arm. And then if you have high traction, you'll move the hub up on the arm. So coming back over here to try and explain that, if you have the hub down here, or this hinge pin down here, it moves the hub up and will give you a higher axle height. And I think I might have my setup sheet wrong. I'll take a look and verify, but the axle height offsets are going to work in conjunction with your diff height to control that. So if you're raising your diff, you're going to want to lower your hubs in order to keep everything the same. And you're not really lowering your hubs as you are lowering the point at which the hinge pin goes through the hub. So this point right here. So if that hole is lower on the hub, like down here, that moves the axle up. If that hinge pin hole is here, then that moves that hub down. So there is a compromise there, and you want to make sure that you make the adjustments of the differential and the rear axles together so that they work together and that you're not fighting angles, your drive shaft angles. So, yep, 1 millimeter is where I'm at. Kit's pretty good. You could use this 2 mil almost anywhere. It's good for clay, good for carpet. It's a real good spot. Yeah, so here we go. The axle height adjustment will give you the ability to adjust the roll center for various traction conditions. Typically in lower grip, you will run 0, 0.51, or 1.5 millimeter lower roll centers. In higher grip conditions, you'll want to use the 2, 2.5, or 3. Again, that's kind of used to adjust your roll center and your ride height. The width offset will give you more versatility to adjust track width, axle location, and so not only can you move the hub up and down, you also move it in and out to give you a change in track width. But that track width also will change how the rear end responds, so you have to understand and use them all together. So this is actually very adjustable and very, very good if you can tune it and work it all together. So a high ride height, a low hub height, and a neutral or shallow drive shaft axle can give you a good ride height with a lot of consistent rotation and good drive. I think we kind of beat that topic to death. So on the hub, I'm running my outer ball stud on this inner port or inner location in the back. Centered just like this, one shim in back, one shim in front to keep it very centered. Coming to the pickup points. So I'm running this point, the 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5 up, and that will essentially move the arm up on the chassis, which will help with the roll center and the height. If you're, this is a kind of a more, I don't want to say advanced tuning, but you have to understand how these work in order to take advantage of it. If you have a really good track, a lot of grip, you can take some toe out of it. You can take it either by moving the forward one outboard, or the aft RR hinge pin, you can move it inboard so that your hinge pins can go out. So you can either keep the rears the same and move the forward ends in, and that'll give you more toe, or you can move the aft parts in, and that'll give you less toe. So you have to look at it together, because you're essentially moving that hinge pin in 3 dimensions. You can move it, the forward part inboard and up, and you can move that outer part outboard and aft. So you really need to find out what you like. If you match the same ones. So if let's say I run this 0.5, this one, and this one, you will keep the 3 degree rear toe and 1 degree anti-squat. So they're all made to use together. If you understand how to tune them and what you want from the back end, this is a very good tool. For almost 99%, the centers is just fine. Coming to the back end, essentially the kit. I'm not running the anti-roll bar rear hinge pin. I am running 2mm in the center, just like it is here, and 1mm, or the actually 0.5 millimeter right here. So exactly like that in the kit. Wing mount, normal wing mount. Shocks, the only difference is I got the aluminum bottom caps. I think that makes a night and day difference. It leaks a little bit less than normal with the aluminum caps. You have to buy them in pairs, but I do think they're better than the plastic kit ones. Again, using the kit holes, so 1.6, 1.7, those work good. Eyelets exactly how they are. If you use the Astro springs, then you won't ever need to change the rear eyelet positions. Same thing with the cups. If you use the correct cups, the correct eyelets, correct springs, you don't need to change any of that stuff. You change and use the dirt springs, you're gonna have to change your rear cups and eyelets. And back end, same thing. Center, just like that on the arm. Same position as the kit on the shock tower. Going arm on the outboard position. And then same thing on the shock tower. So to show you the buggy itself, as you can see, got the vented slipper, purple springs, green springs up front. I run the foam all the way back so the battery can be up front. These are just Exotech wing buttons. I like the orange a little bit better. So here's the back end, 2mm in the center, 1 or 0.5 millimeter up here, the 2.5 on the hub. I think works great. Next up, if you can see the pills, 0.5 up, all around. I'm running the carbon chassis rails just to make it a little bit stiffer. I never ran it without it, so I can't tell if it's any different. I just know that it is very stiff front to rear, and the chassis, there's not much flex in it. So I'm running, what I do is I take a 18 mil or 20 mil grub screw and I run it in the arm in the position I'm gonna run. So then all I need to use is a 5.5 nut driver to take the bottom eyelet off. If you want to change positions, you do need to unthread the grub screw and run in the next position, but that's minor. On the front end, going arm, going shock tower, normal camber links, nothing too different. These are just Serpent servo washers or countersink washers that I put countersink screws through just to kind of even the load on the shock tower and make it look a little bit nicer, but it's nothing, doesn't add any performance or anything. Electronics wise, Sanwa servo, they're low profile, transponder mounted on top, the McLaren Pico 100 amp, a Sanwa RX481. I like them because they're small. I don't have to deal with an antenna tube. Everything kind of mounted fairly normal. 5mm bullets straight to the battery. I color my battery, the positive post, put the red on the positive so that I don't cross connect them. And I have cross connected a handful of ESCs, and one of these days I'll learn. 2472 for the spur gear, composite battery holder, and that's about it. If you have any more questions, questions about tuning specific stuff, hey, what should I do this, how should I do that, let me know, and I'll put together another video. I still have another video for clay setup, but this should cover it for carpet. If you have questions, let me know. Oh, here's something I did that I don't know if anyone saw this. In order to get the lower motor mount screw, I drilled a hole in the chassis so that I can fit my driver in there. Otherwise, you have to have a ball to get that angle. So I just drilled a hole right here. You can make a bigger hole, but that helps out so much when you're trying to adjust your pinion and your motor. So that concludes this video. If you have more questions or if it was too much, let me know. I'll dial it back or simplify, but that's my video. And thanks for watching.